3, 2,
And welcome to another edition of Inside the Park, along with Ryan Thies. I'm Barry Nelson, our producers and engineers, David Bobke and Baxter Colburn. Just a reminder, if you would like to watch us on something other than Facebook Live, which I don't know why you would want to, but subscribe to our YouTube page. Also visit our website at brewsportsnet.com, Twitter and Instagram at brewsportsnet. If you want to follow Ryan on Twitter, you can follow him at Ryan Thies. That's RyanThies. I think I got that. I think I got that one right. And so you can tell Mom. Yeah, you can tell your mom that I actually got it right this time. If you want to follow me, Barry Nelson, that's BarryNelsonWI for Wisconsin. Barry Nelson WI on Twitter. Lots of things to get to, Ryan. We've had a fantastic week of Major League Baseball, and I'm still dealing with some schmutz on my microphone here from halftime, thanks to Baxter and Tanner and their pie throwing contest, or was it a trivia contest that turned into pie throwing? So it's either way. I got to deal with some stuff here on the microphone, but we'll deal with it. And we're going to be joined in a very, very short time by Christian Heimall, our good buddy, and he's going to talk to us. Yeah,
Christian's back.
He doesn't just know about college basketball. He knows about everything sports. He's actually the public address announcer for the Quad Cities River Bandits, the single A affiliate of the Houston Astros, and that's he's big into baseball. He's big into baseball. He's big into basketball, and we're happy to have him back on. And in fact, why don't we bring him on right now, Christian? If you are there, say hi, Christian.
Nope.
As we don't have any audio, unfortunately.
We can see him.
We can see him.
Yeah,
you look good.
There we go.
Beard needs a little trim, but we're still. I'm just playing with you. Let's see if we can get these technical difficulties worked out here, and we'll just move on. We'll keep going.
We know he's there.
We know he's there, so he's going to be joining us very, very soon. Some technical difficulties we will get through, and to start off the show, then we will go back to our regular format. We were going to start off with Christian and then do our stadium tour and then do our fair or foul, but we will go ahead and we'll talk about we'll do our stadium tour, a little bit about it. If you hadn't tuned in to social media has been wrought with a lot of negative stuff, but there's been a lot of positive stuff as far as Major League Baseball goes. And the one positive we have from this past week, and I think we have Christian back on. And we do. Christian, are you there?
Is it working now? Are we good?
It is working now. We're good. Okay, we'll get back to our stadium tour. We'll get back to the positive social media in just a second. Thank you very much, everybody, for being so patient with our technical difficulties. But, Christian, we were telling people you don't just know about college basketball. You know about baseball, too. And one of the things we wanted to talk about in regards to baseball was the NL East. The gap just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. The Nats, the Washington Nationals, dropped 4 out of 5, but still lead by 7 games. And they're the only team in that division that is over 500. Can anybody catch them?
Short answer, no. But a lot of that has to do, obviously, with the injuries to the New York Mets and their pitching staff. And the Mets have an entire starting lineup that is on the disabled list. So I'm not really surprised that the Nationals are doing as well as they are. I don't think anybody catches them. I know it's late May, and it is probably too early to call a division race. But as much as you can put the curly W in the books for the division, the NL East, you might as well do it for the Washington Nationals, unless somehow, some way, all of these guys get back for the Mets, and especially with Familia out now until possibly the entire year. I don't see anybody catching the Nationals in the NL East unless someone for the Nats gets hurt and maybe the Braves figure it out. But how about the Braves in second place right now, even though they are sub 500? The NL East is a battle for second now.
Yeah, and my wife likes to call Washington the Walgreens team because their logo does look like Walgreens. So, but not just the NL East, but it's also the same thing in the AL West. The Rangers win 9 of 10 games, and they're still down 6.5 to the affiliate that you work for, the Houston Astros. This may be the best time for the Rangers or someone else to catch Houston, because Houston has Dallas Keuchel now on the disabled list, which we'll talk about in a little bit, and also they have Brian McCann on the disabled list as well. How much does that hurt Houston, and how much better is it going to be for these second place teams in the AL West?
No, I think the biggest thing when you look at the West is the fact that the pitching staff, if there's a team that has the pitching to catch Houston, it is the Rangers. And you look at what Yu Darvish, despite he had a little bit of a hiccup yesterday, not much, but their pitching staff is tremendous. You look at what they're able to do from an outfielding standpoint and what they're able to put together for a lineup. I'm really impressed with the Rangers. I thought at the start of the year, the AL West was going to be one of the toughest divisions to win outside of the AL East. I thought those were the two toughest divisions to win going into this season. And so far, at least, the Central or the West has proven to be that. I mean, listen, the Astros are going to be just fine once Keuchel comes back. The biggest question was if Keuchel could return to 2015 form. And so far, prior to this little injury stint, he has. But I think the Astros have the team in place to go ahead and win that division. The West is going to be a lot of fun, to win, mainly because of how well the Rangers are playing. And if by some stretch of the imagination, the Angels are able to put together a trade to maybe get that missing piece at the front end of their rotation, who knows? They could make a run at it too late. But this is the best time. If the Rangers are going to make ground on Houston, they got to do it now. They got to do it quick before Keuchel and McCann get back off the DL.
Christian Heimall joining us, our MLB insider and also a public address announcer for the Quad Cities River Bandits. If you do have a question for Christian or you want to join in the conversation, please comment in our Facebook Live, and we'll get them on like Ian did. He said NL East, more like the NL Least. And he's got a point there. That's a good one, Ian. He does have a very good point. Christian, one thing that I want to talk about with the Houston Astros is they're talking about possibly acquiring Garrett Cole from the Pirates. How much more space would that put between them and the rest of the pack if they could get somebody like a Garrett Cole and add to that pitching staff?
It would do a bunch for them. I mean, it would be huge for them to be able to acquire a guy like Garrett Cole. You look at a top pick just a few years ago for Pittsburgh. I mean, he hasn't been that top pick kind of guy over the last couple of years, but he has been tremendous for the Pirates and for that pitching staff. So for them to add him, especially at a time right now where they are without Keuchel, if they can get him back and on track as well as acquire Garrett Cole, this is a very dangerous pitching staff and one of the ones that could have multiple Cy Young candidates come the end of the year.
Now, keeping it in the AL West, we're going to talk a little Angels. Now, Mike Trout, he won the MVP a couple times, and you would think he might have peaked in the past, and it's just he's made plateauing here. But this season, it seems like he's actually gotten better. He's hitting .350. He's got 14 home runs right now. How much better can he actually get? Like, when is being too good too good?
You want to ask LeBron James that question? Because, I mean, truth be told, Mike Trout probably shouldn't be on his 5th MVP now. He is that talented. He obviously doesn't get the credit he deserves because he plays on the West Coast and he plays for a lackluster team in Anaheim. But, you know, this is a tremendous young talent. And this is one of those guys who, as much as it pains me to say it, the best thing to happen for him is to go leave in free agency and go to a big market team, simply because the Angels aren't competing right now. If the Angels were competing for division titles and World Series titles, this would be completely different. All we would talk about is how great Mike Trout is and how much fun it is to watch him. And that's still the case. The problem is that we're not paying attention to him because his team isn't any good. They're not on the national spotlight. If he played for the Rangers or the Astros or even the Los Angeles Dodgers, if he just played on the other side of town, he would be talked about every single day. But he's not, which is a problem considering just how talented of a player he is. You're looking at one of the greatest young players the game has seen in a very, very long time. And he really is one of those guys that when he hits the free agent market, wherever he goes to make a lot of money, if it's a top 10 media market or a top 5 media market, he is going to shoot to superstardom.
Josh had a question on Facebook for you. He said, who do you think in the AL Central will pull away? It seems like a logjam there right now, especially with Cleveland and Chicago and forget who. Minnesota, thank you. Yes. Minnesota, obviously the upstart team.
Well, listen, that's one of the biggest surprises in baseball right now. Between the Minnesota Twins and the Colorado Rockies, I don't know who's the bigger surprise for a team at the moment. That being said, eventually I do think the Indians pull away. They just have the experience from last year. They have guys on their team who know how to win. And most importantly, what I thought the biggest part for them last year and why they lost was that they lost two of their best pitchers in September in Salazar and Carrasco. So the fact they got those guys back for a full year healthy, Michael Brantley's back for the Central. I'm really happy to see the White Sox playing as well. The White Sox, it's really interesting. If you read a couple of issues ago, I believe it was Sports Illustrated was talking about the Cubs way, Tom Verducci in his book, but the White Sox are starting to do very similar things to how the Cubs did a couple of years ago with their draft picks and what they're doing from trading and free agency. So I love what the White Sox are doing right now, but at the end of the day, I do think that is the Indians' division to lose.
Now, we'll switch leagues here, talk a little NL Central. Over the weekend, I actually went down to Chicago to see Cubs and Brewers on Friday, and it was very cold, very rainy, but they still played the entire game. And when I left, I thought to myself, like, well, it's kind of warmer. That should be a nice day tomorrow. And they ended up postponing the game at about 11:30 that morning for a 1:20 start. You can kind of see where I'm going with this. There's kind of a conspiracy that the Cubs wanted an extra off day and wanted to reschedule that one to July. Is there anything behind that? Am I crazy for thinking that there's something more behind this?
I have absolutely zero sources with either of those two teams. But what I can tell you from my years in working in baseball, and I've seen it firsthand in the independent leagues, if there's a team that's struggling, and the Brewers are even struggling a little bit too right now, but if both teams are struggling and they can find any excuse to maybe give everybody a day off, they're going to take that. Now, I'm not saying that's what happened here in Chicago, but you're not crazy in thinking that. I've seen it happen in the independent leagues where, hey, a team's struggling right now. We got some guys banged up. One full day to just kind of relax and just get treatment and not worry about anything else is a great thing. So, you're not crazy in thinking it, but I can't say one way or the other if that's actually what happened.
Now, you mentioned that the Brewers had been kind of cooling down a little bit, especially Eric Thames. He's been a little down, but he's been able to be picked up by his teammates, Keon Broxton, Jonathan Villar, Travis Shaw. There have been so many ways that the Brewers have been able to win, and I think that's the difference between this year and last year is that they're able to find ways to win no matter what the circumstance. Isn't that the way a rebuilding team should move forward? Are they in that rebuilding mode still, or do you think they're actually kind of getting over that, getting to the top of that hill now?
They're still in that rebuilding mode just because they don't have that superstar guy to go to. Yes, Eric Thames is great, and yes, Ryan Braun has been the face of that franchise for a while, but they don't have that one or two parts that really kind of shore up everything. There are still holes and glaring ones for Milwaukee. But that being said, they are finding ways to win, and that does a lot for a team. When you can get some victories and you're still in a rebuilding mode, look at the Houston Astros just 2 years ago when they were one of those teams that everybody said, man, these guys are going to be really good 2-3 years in the future. They were still finding ways to win. Look at the Mets when they went to the World Series just a couple seasons ago. They found ways to win ball games. This year, they're finding ways to lose ball games. And that's really kind of how you say if a team is on the downward trend or not. The fact that Milwaukee is finding ways to win, even with a guy as hot as Eric Thames, who rebuilt his career, he's definitely going to be the catalyst to this rebuild for Milwaukee, and a credit to them and their GM for picking him up this offseason. But I still think they're in rebuilding mode, although Brewers fans should 100% enjoy this season because it's only going to lead to better things.
Ian mentioning that choosing to cancel the game due to the weather should be up to the umpires like it is in the World Series, and during the game it usually is too. They would know if the field is safe for players. Josh Egan saying it was a Bull Durham type rain delay. Oh my God, we got ourselves a natural disaster. So yeah, both good points, and I definitely agree. And Ryan and I will talk about this case as far as Weathergate 2017 coming up. But I think there is something behind that, and
it's going to be interesting to see what kind of comes beyond that to try to revive this whole.
And it's not just coming from us; it's coming from the Brewers, and it's coming from their coaching staff too. In fact, I'll share that. I'll share that a little bit later on.
Yeah, but before we get to that, Christian Jose Bautista, he's known for bat flipping. Did it again on Wednesday night's game, and could he be out of line for doing that? It was like a 6-3 game. And the Braves didn't like it too much and ended up hitting him the next day by Julio Teheran, and it just kind of spiraled down from there. So what's up with the bat flipping? We're still talking about this in 2017.
Listen, in the Latin American culture for baseball, the bat flip is a sign of joy. It's basically commonplace in Latin American baseball, whether it's the Dominican, whether it's Cuba, whatever it is. It's part of their culture. It's not part of the U.S. culture just yet. And I think that's why a lot of people are upset by it. Now, listen, I'm one of those ones that fell in love with Rougned Odor a year ago for delivering a perfect right hand to Bautista. That being said, I'm okay with bat flips in the right spot, in the right situation. His bat flip in the playoffs against Texas, that one I got. I hated it at the moment. After I sat back and let it, kind of digest, I understood it. The one against the Braves was 100% out of line. You're down 8-3 in the 8th inning, and you hit a solo home run to make it a 4-run deficit. You hit your home run, you run around the bases, you get back in the dugout. It is very, very simple. And I do think Teheran was in the right to throw at him the very next day. My issue with guys throwing at one another is that you only see it really with American League teams because, and this was a rare instance where it's an interleague play in a National League stadium, but you only see it because the pitcher knows he's not the one who's going to get hit. You think if that game's against Matt Harvey and Cespedes hits a bomb, you think Harvey's throwing it and does a bat flip? You think Harvey's going to throw at somebody? No, because he knows the next time he comes up to bat, he's getting one in the back, and pitchers don't want that. So I think it's time we just kind of move on. The bat flips are a part of culture. They're going to be here forever. I think players like Jose Bautista, they just need to be smarter about when and how emphatic they are with it, because that one was 100% out of line.
My whole thing with that is, though, Bautista, when he got to home plate and Kurt Suzuki actually said something to him, you could see Bautista saying, you know what, my bad, I got that one. Now, does the unwritten rule still states, if you show up your pitcher, you should get beaned, but after taking responsibility, and it looked like he did he still deserve to get beaned the next day? I mean, I don't think so.
It's one of the weird things. I think a lot of pitchers take it upon their own. I mean, you look at Matt Barnes and Manny Machado a couple weeks ago. I think that was Matt Barnes taking it upon himself, even though Pedroia probably didn't say, hey, let's throw at him. I don't think anybody in the Braves clubhouse said, we're going to throw at Bautista. I think Teheran took it upon himself because he's part of that culture that understands the bat flips, and he knows that one was out of line. But I think you're right. I think Bautista, as soon as he hit home plate and Suzuki said something to him, I think he realized it. And truthfully, I think he realized that he was wrong when Chase Peterson said something to him as he walked around first base, because you saw him do a double take at Peterson at first.
I thought he was going to turn around and swing at him.
Well, and you know what? If that was a tying home run or a go-ahead home run, he may have. But I do think that Bautista, as soon as Peterson said something to him, he realized, yeah, you know what, probably my bad on that one. So it was a little over-exaggerated for Teheran to do it, but I do think that was all Julio, and that had nothing to do with anybody else in that clubhouse.
Christian, we know you got to go soon, but you can't leave without playing Fast Five. We do it with all of our correspondents and all of our guests. So whenever you're ready, you're going to get 5 questions. You're going to have 5 seconds. And before the 5th question, though, after the 4th question, we do need to take a little bit of a break just to give you a little bit better understanding of what's coming up. So first of all, number 1, favorite baseball movie?
For love of the game, what's better than a guy pitching a perfect game at Yankee Stadium?
Okay. Not
against
bad.
the Yankees. What's better than that?
Favorite baseball player growing up?
Nomar Garciaparra, hands down.
Wow. Okay. Better hitter, Ty Cobb or Pete Rose?
I'm going to go Ty Cobb, but Pete Rose was probably a better player.
Okay. Same. It's kind of a 2-part question. Bigger douche, Ty Cobb or Pete Rose? Bigger jerk, I should say.
Can I go
maybe.
off the board and can I go off the board and take Alex Rodriguez or maybe Bobby Valentine? I don't know, but I'll go Pete Rose on that one.
Okay. Question number 4.
Wanted to come at you.
Okay. Question number 4. Better battery, Nuke Lelouch and Crash Davis or Ricky Vaughn and Jake Taylor?
No question. It's got to be Nuke and Crash. All-time minor league home run leader over a catcher who can barely walk.
Very good. All right, we got one more question for you, but before we do that, we have to play a little bit of a clip just to give our audience just a little bit of what we're talking about here. Okay, I don't know if Christian you could hear that, but here's another clip here for you. I I don't know what's more disturbing, that we're actually playing that on a baseball show or David Bobke's behind the scenes singing along with it. But as you know, the Billboard Music Awards were last night. Cher receiving the Icon Award, Celine Dion performing My Heart Will Go On for the 20th anniversary of Titanic. Who had the better performance, Cher or Celine?
Simply because I'm never going to be able to get the image of Cher out of my head, I'm going to go Celine Dion.
Even though she was wearing a life preserver last night?
Well, yeah, but I mean, also if you look at Twitter things like Titanic hoops and those kind of things where that song will live on forever in infamy. Right. I'm more than happy with going Celine Dion. But like I said, those outfits that Cher was wearing, I'm gonna have nightmares about those forever. So I'm going. She is
the only 71-year-old that I know that I don't actually know her, but that I know would try and pull that off. My God, yeah, that's a scary sight. I wouldn't imagine. I can't imagine.
I don't want to imagine that. Yeah, I don't want to.
Imagine your mother or your grandmother trying to pull that off. That's just not right. So. Anyway,
and that's why we're having nightmares.
Christian, we always love having you on the show. If people want to follow you on Twitter, where can they go?
You check me out at Chris Heimall on Twitter. I'll be all season long, whatever it is, whatever sport's out there, I'll be a part of it, no doubt.
All right. We love having you on the show. Looking forward to having you back very, very soon. Thank you once again, and good luck tonight with the Quad Cities River Bandits.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
All right. Christian Heimall, our MLB correspondent, public address announcer for Quad Cities River Bandits, the single A affiliate of the Houston Astros. Are you in his camp? You're just going to say it's Celine and just move on?
Yeah. Yep. Just whatever's going to make this go away faster.
I just get a kick out of David. He was sitting behind the producer's desk,
just having fun.
Oh my God, he's almost in
his
tears.
Element.
He's almost in
tears.
See
him on karaoke night.
I would think that would be his go-to. Is that your go-to karaoke, David? No. Well, maybe that'll be for our next. Maybe that'll be for our next correspondent karaoke go-to song.
Yeah. You don't know till you try. So.
Yeah. Well, I think David's got the voice. He's definitely he could pull off the dress. I can definitely vouch for that. Anyway, moving on. We got to go to our stadium tour. We talked to Christian first. We're kind of doing this out of order today, but we started talking about the social media. The internet sensations that are out there primarily are not all that great. If you take a look at what's that girl from Dr. Phil, Cash Me Outside. How about that? You know, that girl.
I don't know
Danielle,
her name. I know who you're talking
Danielle
about.
Burkle, I think it is. Yeah. But, all these negative things. Then all of a sudden you have Sadie Sogard, the toddler infant, or I don't want to say infant, but the toddler daughter of Eric Sogard from the Milwaukee Brewers, who just got called up last week. And he's been on fire, batting .406 over the last week or so, hitting a few home runs. And they were in San Diego last week. And he hit the go-ahead home run in the 10th to put the Brewers up 5-4. Then all of a sudden, they lost it in the bottom of the 10th. Mm-hmm. And Sadie didn't know what was going on. And this is the viral video that has gone and has become the internet sensation. Go ahead and play that.
Sadie, it's okay. Why did the Padres win? They hit a home run at the very end, so they won. It's okay, we can win the next one. That's what Daddy meant to do, because he got the home run. What? Daddy got the home run too. Daddy did get a home run too, baby. Why did they Daddy hit his home run, and then the Padres hit a home run. Why? That's just baseball. There's no crying in baseball.
And that was Sadie Sogard. And the fact that Casey, his wife, there's no crying in baseball in. And I love the fact that a toddler actually knows what's going on.
That's what I was going to say. I was going to say, at that age, I couldn't even describe that much of a baseball game and what a certain player, I mean, it was her dad, but what it did to affect the game.
Well, and my whole thing was, my first memory of a baseball game was when I was 4. She's 3.5, and she was crying. And like we said, it became an internet sensation. The Padres got a hold of it, and what they did the next day was totally classy. They went and they gave her some cupcakes because they felt bad, and lo and behold, the Brewers win the next game. But she just enjoyed the next two, and just fun to see. It's just a fantastic video to see, and it's good to see.
It's good to see Eric Sogard playing the way he is right now.
Hashtag
too.
nerd power.
Yeah.
I know what that's all about.
What he had 1 home run like each of his last 5 or 6 seasons that he played, and he has 2 in his first 10 games or first
16 at bats.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was crazy. We talked a little bit about it with Christian, the Bautista bat flip. Controversy again for Jose Bautista. First of all, I got to ask you, and if you have comments, by all means, please comment on this. But I got to ask you, first of all, do you think Jose Bautista is a bat flipping prima donna? Or do you think he's just excited and he's just a baseball lifer that loves to celebrate things that he does?
I think... I want to say
he's not going to come after you. He doesn't know where we live.
I want to say the first one, but I'm going to have to feel and go the latter on that one, just on the basis of that he did kind of show little responsibility for his latest bat flip little problem we got into. But a lot happens in the moment. He's had some good bat flips at good times, namely really the playoffs.
I love that one.
Yeah, they're good. But when it's an 8-3 game and hit a solo shot against the Braves, interleague play, by the way, in the middle of May.
In Atlanta.
In the 8th inning, yeah.
Right.
And just he forgot where he was. I think he forgot the situation. He hit one, and then...
but here you see Kurt Suzuki saying something and him pointing to himself saying, you know what, my bad. And he's trying to walk away, and,
He's either doing that so there's no more drama around the Jose Bautista name, or he actually feels like sorry, I threw my bat after hitting a home run. Which
I think he's the first. I honestly think he can be a bat-wielding prima donna, but I also think it's awesome. I love the fact that he flips the bat. He gets excited. I think he does that for effect, but I also think he does it for excitement too, because he is excited about a home run. But you're right. He does have to maintain a sense of decorum and really realize the situation he's in. Now, last year during the playoffs, man, flip that bat into the third row. Seriously.
That's a whole different ball game.
But this one, you know what? I'm not saying, just set the bat down at home plate. I'm saying you can flip the bat, but not as emphatically as you did. Not, I hit another home run. Come on, have some sense.
It's a team game.
It is a team game.
It's not a Jose Bautista game.
Speaking of the Atlanta Braves, Freddie Freeman headed to the DL, out at least 2 months with a broken wrist, and that is huge because Freddie Freeman at this point was leading the National League in home runs with 14. The Braves go out and get Matt Adams of St. Louis. How much is this going to affect the Atlanta Braves?
Pretty highly. Matt Adams is not 2017 Freddie Freeman here. Freeman had a great year. Looked like he was even going to be an MVP candidate towards this whole entire season. Then he breaks his wrist, which that's a little tie-in to the whole Jose Bautista bat flipping thing, because Julio Teheran the next day hit Jose Bautista, and he said, or it was kind of thought of being a retaliation for both Freeman getting injured and the bat flip. Because he was hit by a pitch on the wrist, and it wasn't some I guess it was kind of a freak thing, but still kind of controlled in a way. But big loss for the Braves, definitely. They finally looking like they're playing relevant baseball for the first time in a while, and
unfortunately for them,
this happens. Yeah.
Moving on, we mentioned Dallas Keuchel heading to the disabled list with a pinched nerve. He's 7-0 on the season. He's their ace, obviously. Brian McCann as well with a concussion. He's only on the 7-day concussion protocol.
And they're still trying to figure out exactly when this concussion happened.
So it could be retroactive, and he could be off it as soon as a couple days.
They said both these guys could be ready for Saturday's game.
Which would be good, but they're also talking about Garrett Cole coming on from the Pirates. How big would that be if they could get Garrett Cole, too?
It'd be big, but it's got to come at some sort of price. They're not just going to give away.
Well, but they're not going to mortgage their They're not going to mortgage their future, obviously.
You would hope not.
No,
you would hope not.
The Mets in trouble once again. David Wright, who has not played for the last couple of years with a shoulder impingement, and I apologize if my mic is cutting out, but David Wright, out with the shoulder impingement, hasn't played much in the last 2 years. Out once again, and they have stopped his throwing rehabilitation. Is David Wright done? Not should he be, but do you think he is?
I don't think so. I think because he's still got 3 years on the contract.
Mm-hmm.
He's David Wright. He wants to play baseball for a living.
He's that captain.
He is, and it's harder for them to make David Wright to not play baseball than it would be for just any other player.
So basically, he's telling them, you're going to have to pry this thing out of my cold, dead hands, and you're going to have to take me off on a stretcher.
Not to the extent of what Ichiro said about he's going to play baseball until he's dead. Not that far, but it's up there. Because he's just David Wright. He loves the game. He wants to play the game. He's going to try everything he can to play the game. But it's impossible not to think this could be it, because he's worked so hard over the last couple of years and getting just so little back.
Right.
That you're going to think it, but the decision lies in one man's hands, and that's David Wright.
Ian mentioning that he likes the addition of Adams for the Braves. They will still struggle, but worse now that Freeman, but just a little bit worse now that Freeman is injured and saying bat flips are bat flips. Doesn't think they're big of an issue that everyone thinks they need to move on.
It's not the bat flip. It's what comes with the bat flip. I feel like bat
attitude.
flipping is trying to show up your opponent and saying, look what I just did. And that's really selfish.
And to answer my own question, I honestly think David Wright's done. I think his shoulder's going to be too bad. He's not going to be able to come back. They're going to work out some sort of settlement, and he's going to be able to move on. And unfortunately for him, he's not going to be playing baseball again. But speaking of
a good coach.
Yeah, speaking of not playing baseball, we mentioned it on Saturday, the Weathergate between the Brewers and the Cubs. Now, I was listening to some local radio here in the Milwaukee area, and they actually had the third base coach, Ed Cedar, on their airwaves, and he was talking about the rain delay or the rain out. And he said...
Postponement.
Yeah, the postponement. And he actually said that when they came in and told the coaching staff that the game was postponed, they thought it was a joke. They actually laughed. There was literal laughter when they said, oh, yeah, right. And so they thought it was an honest-to-God joke. And it's just amazing that they thought it was a joke. Everybody else thought it was a joke, but the Cubs were being serious. Now, that to me tells me that there's something fishy. And I think that there's
Not
something
only do I want there to be something fishy about it, I think there is something fishy about it.
Definitely ulterior motives.
Whether it's just a small thing saying, hey, let's just get our guys an extra day off. We literally play in the same division. We can reschedule
Jake
this.
Arrieta's just not ready.
Easy.
Oh, my God.
He looked pretty ready yesterday.
Freaking Cubs.
But,
anyway, but during the rain delay on Friday, or was it Saturday that they actually? No, it was Friday. During the rain delay on
Friday,
they actually had a dance-off in the bullpen, and this was started by the Milwaukee Brewers. Now, if you don't know, the Chicago Cubs, actually, their bullpens are no longer along the side rails. They changed it up, and they put it in the outfield area, and nobody can see in, but they can see out, and they have monitors and cameras where people can watch them. Now they can watch the other team's bullpen, and that's what they did, and the Milwaukee Brewers started off, and I want you to take a look. If you haven't seen the video, here is the dance-off between the Brewers and the Chicago Cubs. You got the worm, and you see the Brewers pointing to the monitor. Okay, they think they need to kind of come back with that. Now, I don't know what this is, but that's Jared Hughes. Yeah. I don't know what that was, but he was the one that actually started it. This is actually played a little bit backwards. That actually started, and then came the worm. And then all of a sudden, I still don't know what that is, but I couldn't do it anyway.
It looks kind of like a warm-up.
It does. But then the Cubs, they just have a dance battle, and then this is just poor. That's not even,
Turns into a gymnastics.
It does, but then you have
Carl
the Brewers.
Edwards Jr. getting into it.
Then you have the Brewers trying to break dance, and this that's poor too. I hate to say it, but I got to say that I think the Cubs won that dance off on that one.
I mean, if we're gonna let the Cubs win anything,
they can win the dance off.
They can win a bullpen dance off.
But it was kind of fun. It was kind of fun to see.
Brewers won the game, so.
But it was fun to see them having some fun out in the bullpens and being able to weather that storm, so to speak, pun intended, and really have a lot of fun and enjoy themselves during a rain delay.
Yeah, it's good for you see this more often in the college game.
Mm-hmm.
I've been a part of some rain delays where throw a baseball with messages between the dugouts. You play tic-tac-toe, you play hangman or something like that, but between the two, and get fun. So I think rain delays are one of like a happy moments of baseball, making a bad situation a little bit good.
All righty. Moving on, our stadium tour. Some former Dodgers in the news. Tommy Lasorda, unfortunately, in the hospital right now with an undisclosed illness. He is 89 years old. They said he is resting comfortably. Where does Tommy Lasorda fall in your kind of era of managers? How close is he to the top?
Definitely, I would say top 5.
Just because of longevity, or because of the
longevity?
Success?
It's something. Being a manager, your days are numbered once you get there. And so it's hard to really stick around for as long as he did and not only have the success that he did as well.
Right. He's always a consistent presence at the game, sitting next to Magic Johnson, and nobody will forget the All-Star game where he got knocked over with the bat. He always seemed to remind me of my grandfather. I mean, and not just because he's older, but because he actually looked like my grandfather. And we wish him
older.
Yeah, because he's older. We wish him the best of luck and speedy recovery. Speaking of former Dodgers, Eric Gagne, former closer who had 83 saves in a row, had 82 in a row, 83 out of 84 saves back in 2000, between 2002 and 2004. Attempted a comeback, and he played 3.5 innings with the independent leagues. With the Long Island Ducks, and he said, "You know what? I'm done."
I'm surprised it took him to the Long Island Ducks to say, "You know what? I'm done."
Right,
and 2017 for him to say, "You know what? I'm done."
Well, I mean, it happened so many years ago, and it's not like he's that old. He's not like in his, what is he, 41, 42, I think they said he was. He's not wearing the rec specs anymore, which sucks because I love those things.
He's not Eric Gagne if he's not wearing the goggles.
Right, he's 41 years old. But, I mean, that's not that. That's considering this day and age, it's not.
Pitched much longer than that. But it's just the success that he didn't have after that stretch of 82 straight saves.
And he tried with the Brewers. You know, he was here with Milwaukee, and he had some success, but he really wasn't all that great. But, I don't know. Anyway, he's done. What's that?
Being a closer is hard.
Yeah, being a closer is extremely hard. Chris Iannetta returned to the lineup yesterday, a week after being hit in the face. We showed that last week, man. That was just some brutal stuff.
You know what he did with the first pitch he saw? He had a home run.
Did he really?
Yeah,
I didn't even notice that. But a week after he came through, he hit a home run. He was back in the lineup. Did he have? I didn't even see the game. Did he have the mask on?
No. Now he does.
So now but I'm saying like yesterday, did he have the extra guard on there?
Yeah.
I was
After
hoping so because
he has the face guard.
Because that's still brutal to watch. We can take that off. Josh Donaldson is starting his rehab. Former AL MVP and All-Star is starting his rehab tonight with, how do you pronounce it? Dunedin Blue Jays of
Florida
Single
State
A.
League.
Yeah, Florida State League Single A affiliate or the High A affiliate for the.
The one
for
Florida
the Blue Jays.
State League game I went to was Fort Myers Miracle, Twins affiliate, against the Dunedin Blue Jays.
Baxter looks like he knows
like
what you're talking about.
He's been to Florida before.
Have you been to Florida before, Baxter? I really hadn't
Fort
noticed.
Myers. You've been
There's
to Fort
a rumor
Myers?
that I've been to Florida at least once.
Never. Oh, come on.
Fort Myers Miracle games are actually pretty nice, though, in all honesty.
It's like me saying
They
I've
redid
never
the
been
whole
to Milwaukee.
I went there the year before they redid the whole Century Link field, so I haven't seen the updates yet, but I have to get down there.
All right. Well, that does it for our stadium tour, and we've already had our guest on, so we can move right to fair or foul. This is our segment where we give each other 3 topics, and we determine whether they are true or false, fair or foul.
It's my turn to go first.
Is it your turn?
Yeah.
Are you're gonna bogart this one? Oh, that's fine because my third one I think is pretty sweet.
End on a high note.
Yeah, we'll end on a very, very high note. So go right ahead.
My first one, Astros will trade for another starter this season. They've had arguably one of the best starting rotations in the league.
I believe that's fair. I think they're going to get Garrett Cole from the
Jeremy
Pittsburgh
Hellickson
Pirates.
has been talked about.
They have been talking to
there,
Jeremy Hellickson, but I really do think that it's going to be Garrett Cole. I think they're somehow before the trade deadline they're going to move in with that. So my first one to you, Barry Bonds. The much maligned Barry Bonds, but he's been trying to get in the good graces of everybody now. He will get into the Baseball Hall of Fame within the next 5 years. Fair or foul?
I'm gonna say foul. Just
Really?
it's something that the baseball writers who vote on this aren't just gonna do it so easy. I think it's hard for them to be persuaded back to an idea.
But I checked out the first ballot Hall of Famers for next year, and man, there's nobody. I mean, Omar Vizquel maybe, but that's about it. And then
They don't remember the year that they didn't vote any players in,
yeah,
so that they always have that card to play.
but he did get what 53% of the vote last time. So I mean, he's moving, he's inching up towards it. I just thought maybe within the next 5 years he might get to that 70.
It's gonna be tough. Right now, I'm gonna say no.
Okay,
Yeah, foul.
fair enough.
Second
Although
one,
it's foul, but
Yeah. Second one for you. You hate the Cubs more now than at this time last week because of the whole rain gate.
That's foul. I've hated the Cubs just as
Just
equally.
max?
Yeah,
Just-
just
you
as
can't get
equally
any
as
higher?
last week. I can't hate the Cubs anymore. And it's not. My hatred for the Cubs doesn't come from anything tangible.
Just because you're from Milwaukee.
It's from
That's what it
because
is.
I'm from Milwaukee, and I had a buddy that when I was in elementary school, he loved the Cubs, and every day after school, before we played Nintendo, he always had to go watch the Cubs. And I remember Andre Dawson, Ryan Sandberg. I'm like, oh my God, do we have to watch the Cubs? And he was just a big Cubs fan, and I just hated the Cubs for that. I don't know why. It's deep seated, I guess. long time ago. Baseball's unwritten rules. Need to progress with the times. Fair or foul?
I'm fair. Anything has to change with the times. I think the kind of beanball stuff is getting a little out of hand. I think just the whole retaliation idea is going to have to go away at some point, and that's just kind of what has gone on around sports.
Well, we haven't seen one of these in a while.
No.
A big melee.
We had benches clear a couple times this week,
Yeah,
but
but
it's all
nothing-
just kind of standing there,
Yeah.
and that's the furthest that bench clearing brawls are going to get to now, and it's just going to keep going downhill. And so I believe that the image of beating people and the image of bench clearing is getting, with the times, kind of more of a negative connotation.
So you're never going to see
that's-
a Robin Ventura, Nolan Ryan type thing
Absolutely
anymore?
no,
Oh, man.
we're not. If MLB wants to gain any new viewers, then that's not going to happen.
It's unfortunate.
And I saw an article earlier today. Said New York Post said MLB is unwatchable because of it. I'm like, okay, I'm not going that far,
No.
but people are thinking that, and because they don't feel baseball is changing to the times.
Well,
that-
you don't have personalities like a Gary Sheffield like we saw before. You don't have Albert Bells that are just total jerks. You don't have those guys in the
Jose
league right now.
Bautista is the
Jose
biggest
Bautista,
jerk
yeah,
here, because he
exactly.
throws a bat and then he apologizes after.
Yeah, and this
It's
was
just-
getting
it's
back.
just different. It's
and,
different.
and it's getting back to our talk we had with Scott Wisniewski last week about is baseball getting too soft, and this may be an agreeable thing that baseball may be getting too soft. So
Third
Anyway.
one for you.
Okay.
Beat the streak on MLB.com.
no, okay,
You pick a player throughout
no, I'm familiar.
the MLB. If they get a hit, your streak exceeds. And if you get to 56, which is Joe DiMaggio's,
You get a free
hit
pizza,
streak-
right?
Yeah, you get a little more than that.
What do you get?
It's $1 million. Is it still $1 million? It's a.
You're
it's a-
asking
it's
the
a-
wrong
it's a-
person.
it's a
I
sum
knew on
of
ESPN
money.
it was.
Yeah, you get money, and no one has ever done it. This week, it was Robert Mosley got the 51, and his streak ended. So, will someone ever reach 56 on MLB.com's Beat the Streak?
Nobody will reach 56 anything. You won't reach 56 hits. You won't reach 56 on the win streak. Baxter, what's up?
You get to win $5.6 million if you hit 57
Oh, well,
I get it.
games.
that makes sense.
It's 56.
Joe DiMaggio's streak is just so unbelievable. In anything, you can't do 56 things in a row anytime. I mean, it's very, very tough. I mean, we saw the saves, obviously, with 82 in a row, but, I mean, that's...
You already have it.
You have to
In
break
your
it, by the
favor.
way. It's not just 56.
You have to get to 57.
You have to get to
You have to
57.
break the record.
Okay.
That's crazy. I don't think he's going to do it. I don't think anybody's going to do it. And I think that's why they're
That's
putting
been
up...
going on for years.
And I
too,
think that's
and
why they put up
51
so
is
much
the
money.
record.
Yeah, I think that's why they put up so much money is because they see the screenshot. Thank you very much, David, for bringing that up. That's why we won't ever see it again, and that's why they put so much money up is because they know that it's an impossible mark to reach. So, No, I don't think it will. Anyway, the final one for you.
Huh.
Johnny Dickshot, Cannonball Titcomb, and Bud Weiser are former baseball players.
I just like the reaction of our producers here. Well, you say that because they don't see the sheet that we
I don't
have.
think we're allowed to say those on the air, Barry.
We can if they're real names.
On the basis of, I don't think you're that creative to actually make up those names.
Thanks a lot.
I think those are actual names.
I'll start
of
calling you Johnny
baseball
Dickshot.
players. Yeah,
And
I know
it is.
I've heard Budweiser.
Yes.
as a baseball player name.
Jonathan
Dickshot.
John Oscar Dickshot, commonly known as Ugly Johnny Dickshot, was a Major League Baseball outfielder for the Pittsburgh Pirates from 1936 to 1938 and the New York Giants in 1939. Cannonball Titcomb. It's Liddell Cannonball Titcomb was an American pitcher in Major League Baseball who played for several teams in the National League and American Association. Born in West Baldwin, Maine, and he pitched for 5 seasons, finishing with a 30-29 record and 3.47 ERA. And Bud Weiser, yeah, these are all real names. And trying to come up with a last fair follow for you, I had to come up with something outrageous, and this was what I came across. It was pretty funny, actually. Harry Budson Bud Weiser was a professional baseball player, outfielder, who played 2 seasons in the major leagues for the Phillies. So he was actually out there. Some other famous names we have. I don't know if we can say these on there. Actually, we can. Jack Glasscock. Yeah. I can't say anymore because I'm going to get in trouble. But I mean, you can't make this stuff up. And I was like, he's going to see right through me, and he's not going to be able to think that I made this stuff up. So
the player for the Astros a couple years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks.
I forget his first name. The last name was Hose, though. But that was a good jersey people would get just as a joke.
Was it HOES?
Yeah. It
Okay.
was. Yeah. It was. So that's what made it funnier.
Snuffy Sternweiss. That's another one. Razor Shines. Yeah, I mean, geez, all these. Heiny Miney. That's another one. But I came up with those, and yeah, you're right. They are all.
Pokey Reese and Coco Crisp is going to be an end of weird baseball names.
Coco Crisp is number 8 on the list. They had the best baseball names of all time, and the 3 that I named for you were number 2, number 3, and number 6. So you can go on to ranker.com and check out the best baseball names list in history. So that's where we are, fair or foul. We figure we ended on a good note on that one. So we want to thank everybody.
Comedic relief.
Yeah, we wanted to thank everybody for joining in with us. Thank you for all the comments, Ian and Josh, and also thanks to Christian Heimall, who was our MLB insider, the public address announcer for the Quad Cities River Bandits, the single A affiliate for the Houston Astros. Thanks to our producers and engineers, as always, putting together a great show for us. Baxter and David, thank you. We couldn't do this without you, Ryan. Once again, it's been a great show. We had some fun. We had some laughs. And like we said, it's only once a week. Got to do it more often.
Yep. We'll see how it goes.
And just a reminder that on the Brew Sports Network, tomorrow you have the Morning Brew with Mackenzie and Baxter. Then you have Halftime with Baxter and Tanner. You also have double dribbles on tomorrow, correct? And Pick 6 is Thursday, or is Pick 6 tomorrow too? Wow, we have a full slate of shows tomorrow. Pick 6 with Tanner and James, and then you have Jimmy and Mitch on Double Dribble tomorrow night. So we have a full slate. As always, we encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube page. Go to our website at brewsportsnet.com, Twitter and Instagram at brewsportsnet. If you want to follow Ryan, you can follow him on Twitter at Ryan Thies. There you go. Sorry, I wanted to say Tice for some reason. RyanThies. If you want to follow me, Barry Nelson, WIBARRYNELSONWI. That's on Twitter as well. Once again, we thank you for joining us here inside the park. We hope to see you next week once again as we bring you all the insider information from Major League Baseball and maybe some stuff that isn't quite so Major League Baseball. Once again, for Ryan Thies, Baxter Colburn, and David Bobke, I'm Barry Nelson saying so long. We'll see you next week inside the park.
3